What's up, Pirates? Ray Talks here with Awaken TCG, and today we're going to be reacting to the finals that just happened last weekend in the East for OP06. It was a YAMATO versus a Whitebeard, so very interesting matchup here. We did a OP06 like early meta overview, and the video did really well, and I didn't actually end up getting to see this match and see how it played out, so definitely wanted to do that, and so we're going to do that today for you guys. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So for starters, he plays so the YAMATO is going first, and he plays a Searcher, which means I can pull up the cards and give you guys exactly what they do. Actually, give me a second here. So this one is just a basic 1/2 Cami. So it's just on play. Look at the top 4 cards. I can have the card up on screen for you guys, and he actually gets a 2K Jinbei, which is on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost 1 or less. But it's just a 2K counter, right? You just search your 2K counter. These cards I'm talking about, I will have up on the screen. I'm gonna start doing that for you guys, as it's easier to follow along when I am talking. And I am a bit under the weather, so if I sound different, bear with me. So the Whitebeard does an EZO search, very classic. Everyone should know what that card does. Is just search top 5 for a Whitebeard pirate, and he grabs a 4-drop blocker Marco, which is a pretty good card, knowing that this leader is double attack. So the Yamato likes to attach a lot of Dawn and swing double attack, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the play here. You swing 8, make the Whitebeard give you 2 cards or 2 life. Both would put him in a really rough spot, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's all the Yamato does here. Attaches 3 and swings for 8K. So the Whitebeard left 1 open, right? Because this is his first turn. All he had was 1 Searcher, and so he had the Rad Beam to counteract that. So instead of giving 2 cards, he only gave 1, which is it's a pretty good start, right? It's a good use of your guard point earlier on. So now it is turn 2 for the Whitebeard at 4 Dawn. Judging by his hand, he doesn't have too many options here. It looks like he has the Marco he can play. I'm not sure which Luffy's those are in his hand, but so he swings 6, and the Yamato gives him a 2K. Opts to block out. Oh, and so the Whitebeard decides to go aggressive here. Doesn't want to play anything. Just swings another 6 at the Yamato. The Yamato does have another 6K worth of 2Ks in his hand, so 3 2Ks. So he definitely has an option here to block out. He's just debating on what he wants to do. And I think he's not in a terrible spot. As you guys can see, he definitely has some options in his hands. That Horty Jones, the Arlong. So his next turns are definitely gonna be pretty gruesome for the Whitebeard. And on top of that, he just pulled a top life Shirahoshi trigger. So that is a draw 3, trash 2, and now he can cycle out his hand and just make it exactly what he wants. He might want to get rid of some 2Ks, maybe 1 Horty Jones. Probably doesn't need 2 Horty Jones. We'll see what he ends up doing here. So he trashes. Okay, so he trashes a Horty Jones and a Searcher. Very interesting. That's not bad, right? Because you want to keep the 2Ks to be defensive, but you also want to keep the majority of your offensive cards, and then obviously that 1-drop Perona in his hand gives you Banish, so you can just attach 4 Dawn, or it would have to be 3 Dawn actually, and then 2 for the Onami. But he definitely has some options here. He can always Arlong the Whitebeard, just to make sure that he doesn't get another swing off next turn, which is really big, because then he doesn't have anything to swing with on board for that turn. But you do have to trash a card, but I still think that it's worth it. I think it's worth it every time. So he's swinging 6, and exactly what I was saying. He is going to go for the Arlong play here. Arlong, as you can see on the screen, on play, choose one of your opponent's characters or leaders, and it cannot attack until the opponent's next turn, and until the end of their next turn, and you just trash 1 card to activate the effect. So he plays the Arlong, targets the Whitebeard, trashes an Onami, and the Yamato's in a really good spot. The Yamato is in a really good spot here. The Whitebeard has not established anything on the board yet. He is already behind. This next turn for the Yamato is going to be pretty crazy. right? A lot of Don to work with, you know, double tack coming in. He is going to be on Hody Jones Don, so he can play that on curve. So I'm thinking, even if like the Whitebeard here plays like the blocker Marco, did he try? He blocked. So he blocked with the blocker Marco. Interesting. That's very interesting. So actually, his only option here is to 5-cost Marco. I'm not sure what Luffy that is in hand. Is that might be a rush Luffy with the alternate arm I'm not familiar with, but let's go ahead and speed this up here a little bit. He's definitely thinking on what he wants to do. Okay, so he's looking like that's probably the rush Luffy. That's probably the rush Luffy. Yeah, that has to be. Yeah, okay. So it's the rush Luffy. It's just alternate I wasn't familiar with. And he's swinging 7 at lead, I believe. So being very aggressive here. I don't know why he keeps doing that. So he ends up taking it, and it is a Kikunojo out of hand. I'm not sure if I said that right. Or out of life, but it is now the Yamato's turn at 7 Dawn. And this is a very crucial turn. The Whitebeard has no Dawn active, and he probably should have kept some Dawn active to negate a big swing with the Yamato, but it's looking rough. It's looking rough. It is looking very rough for the Whitebeard here. And he only has, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand. He's already used 3 cards. Obviously, the Izo replenishes itself, but he used a 1K counter and a guard point. And so he's going to have to cough up a lot more cards here. So the Yamato plays the card he just got out of life, which is on KO. If your opponent's life is 3 or less, place the top card of your deck in the top of your life. So if your opponent has 3 or less life, which the Whitebeard is at, when the character gets KO'd, you heal a life. So it's a pretty crazy card. It's a pretty crazy card. It's a 4/6, and you kind of never want to get rid of it, because if you do, and her effect is online, you're just healing your opponent a free life for killing their unit. So it's a very good card in this deck. Yeah, no, this match has honestly been so one-sided. This match has honestly been so one-sided. There is no outs, in my opinions, for this Whitebeard, at least that I can see. This is really brutal. Obviously, the Yamato won first, and the Yamato wants to go first. But in this matchup, the Whitebeard probably wants to take the first from the Yamato. But this looks very brutal. I don't want to be Whitebeard playing into this matchup next set. Luckily for me, I don't play Whitebeard. I'm definitely going to try out the Yamato and OP06. So he swung, looks like 8 at the Luffy, and he didn't protect it. And now he's going to swing 7? 8. He's swinging 8 now. Yeah, he's swinging 8 now at leader double attack, which kind of hurts. Kind of hurts. I forgot, because Yamato can, at 2 life or less, or at 3 life or less, your opponent gets to, or you get to use the Luffy effect twice. So you put 2 rested Dawn on one of your characters. So that's how the Arlong got 2 Dawn to swing at the initial Luffy, and so he still had 3 Dawn up, and then he gives him 2 2Ks. He swung 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold on, what did he give him? Six, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah. So he's a 6K leader, so he only had to give him 3K. I'm doing my math wrong there. Anyways, like, let me pause it here for a second. You tell me that this board state is just not a GG. You guys know what Whitebeard does. He likes to play big and tall bodies, and then swing, play aggressive, swing. What options does he have here? He is at 8 Dawn. He can play the ace and get rid of the Arlong, and maybe keep up a defensive ability, but he has 7 cards in hand. If he plays one, he's at 6 cards in hand. The Yamato has so much offensive power, they can literally end the game next turn. It's looking really rough. Blockers don't even help. You have another Rush Luffy, but besides that, you got Searchers in your hand, like a Nami. I mean, there's not much the Whitebeard can do here. He's probably going to be thinking for a little bit here. Look, that's 30 seconds. So his first instinct was, well, I'm not sure what I want to do here, but let me swing 6. Which is valid, right? So swing 6 at leader gives him a 2K. And he's just going to play a Nami, right? So he doesn't have much options. It's looking honestly really rough for the Whitebeard. What did he grab? Let's see what he takes. Oh, he whiffs. Oh, yeah, that's brutal. That just seals the deal that this game is really just over. So he plays a Luffy and swings 7, and he gives him the counter for it. So he gives him the counter for it, which was a 2 and a 1 for 3K. And then the Whitebeard ends turn with 1 life up. And at this point, you can only just pray for the Whitebeard and hope, like, I mean, there's nothing you can do, right? The Yamato is at 9 Dawn, is about to have a full power turn on a Whitebeard with no blockers up and only 1 Dawn active. So it's looking really rough. It's looking really rough. And Hody Jones. Yep, there it is. Hody Jones gets to rest the Nami and gets to rest the Dawn, right? So his Dawn's not active anymore. He does have to take a life, but he's just going to get rid of his board. He's going to get rid of his board, and then the Whitebeard is not going to have enough swings to, amount to a comeback win. Let's see what happens here. So Searcher is going to swing at the Searcher. This matchup honestly feels really rough for the Whitebeard, but I mean, relatively close regardless. But just look at the board state, man. Like, you got to do a little bit better when it comes to, your board state. Obviously, the Whitebeard didn't have a turn 2 play, and he could have had an extra body on board. That 1 swing every turn extra would have, it would have helped for sure. So he is swinging at the Nami, and he's going to take. Yeah, there's not much else you could do. And then, so he's going to now swing 6K at, I believe it's the Luffy. Has to be the Luffy, right? There's no way you just swing 6 raw into the Whitebeard because your leader's, a 2K. So, a 2K. Your leader is a double attack, so you would rather just hit with your leader. He is thinking, come on. Are you going to counter or are you not going to counter? It's one of those turns where you just got to, hope that you can win next turn. Obviously, he has an ace and a Zoro in hand, so, he's going to be able to double swing regardless, try to get that kill off if he survives this turn. But he was probably wondering if he needed to keep the Luffy, but obviously his life is probably more important because he still has way more swings to deal with. So now he's going 8 at leader. Or 5, 6, 7. 7 at leader. Yes, 7 at leader. And he is going to pitch the 2K. Yamato effect. Yep. He's going to get another swing. And then might as well just take at this point. Yeah, there's no reason for you not to take that. So he is now down to no life, and he has to win this turn. Let's see if they can switch the hands over. So he has 2 rush units, 3 rush units. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4K counter in hand. So that means the Whitebeard would have to swing 9K at least twice and hope that the life is not a counter, right? So he's swinging 9, and then so that leaves him with 7 Dawn, which means you go 3 onto the rush, or you use 3 to play the rush Zoro, and then you put 4 on and swing another 9. And it looks like he got another counter, so that is That is GG. It was relatively close despite me saying, oh, it's so one-sided. He actually ended up pulling the counter out of life to win because Yamato is very offensive. But that is going to be game. That is going to be game, guys. Obviously, the Yamato just swings for game. GG's. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. A lot of OP05 content is coming. After this, I think I'm going to react to a OP04 finals, which was the very last one. I hope you guys enjoy these kind of videos. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.